When was the very first time that you remember meeting Tony Keady? What was the first kind of interaction you had where you go, okay?
The first, look, he was a brilliant hurler underage. A lot of it was done in the forwards, all right? UCG were playing a game against Galway in the stadium. I wasn't over the team now, but I knew it was on. I went to see it. And there was two guys I liked that were different. Keady was one, and a lad by the name of John Lee was the other. And John Lee was a UCG student, but he was from Clare, you see. This is the trouble, when I found out, no good to me. Johnny Lee, yeah. Good fella from Tubber. He wasn't going to transfer from Tubber, but he was with UC playing well. But Keady played half that game centre back, and I said to myself, if ever I was over, if ever it happened again, there's a future centre back. So it happened when I came in. Sean Silk, Lord Mercer, Joe McDonough, Iggy Clark, they were the half back line. So they brought in Keady. He was brought in more as a forward. I remember the first night I was picking him, and on a Tuesday I picked the team. And I said, I better tell him he's on, because, he wouldn't give a fiddler's. But I went over to him. We were playing Offaly in Bor, and I went across him for the team. That time the team we announced on the Tuesday night, and I said, Tony, you're playing next Sunday. Great, he said. And I said, you're playing centre back. And he looked at me, he said, you're mad. And I said to him, look, I said, they say you're mad as well. So I said, there's two of us in it, don't worry. But he went in centre back against Offaly. In that time now, Bor, a nice tight venue, and Offaly were always very welcoming. So it was that they'd reddened us before they go out, and they'd reddened us during the match, and they'd reddened us after the match. But it was a great introduction, and he was there then until, he kind of made it his own. But he was a brilliant hurler.
So you knew from that first game that he was a special talent?
Yeah, he just had a special talent, but the boys would tell you, you'd have to know him to get the best of him. He was a bit different, off the pitch. A lot of these, the Tommy Welch's, this word, and Tim McGrath and Ollie Cannons, they're all different off the pitch. You have to get to know them, but Keady was different in his own way. He was innocent in his own way, he was like a kid, never grew up. As I said, Margaret raised 4 of them, but she raised 5, because Pete will tell you, the biggest kid was Keady himself, so that's the kind he was. But he was actually very talented, gifted, without kind of killing himself,
Yeah. What's your first memory of him?
First memories, he played with the vocational schools, the county vocational school. Yeah. Peter would play as well.
Was that forwards or backs?
He played centre forward, and in 1981 he was 17, I was 16, and I joined the minor panel. And we beat Clare in the All-Ireland minor semi-final. Kilkenny beat us in the final, and Tony was centre forward, and that was 81.
Where was Peter in that game?
Wing back, or full back, yeah. He was a bit slowed in as well. He was. Pete broke his leg as well. You had a bad break. In what year did you break?
Oh, that was 81.
81, yeah. He was out for a good while, and then came back in. Was a tower at centre back. But Tony then reverted in later years, or in a couple of years after that, to centre back. But 82, we were in the minor final again.
Where to?
Tipperary beat us in the final, and then 83 Cyril came in.
Did we score in the second half in that game?
Tip.
Against Tip?
Yeah.
Did we? Didn't score much. And you were up there.
Were you a full forward? Yeah.
Full back. I was still full back for me.
I was wondering where the dig was there. I couldn't quite work it out. You were in the forwards, obviously. That's it. Yeah. Fair. What's yours? When did you first kind of remember?
First time I remember Tony was inside the stadium here. The Connacht Tribune put up a set of bikes for the winners of this tournament. It was a Connacht tournament.
Was that under 14?
Under 14, yeah. And my club, Molia, we got to the final, and Killamerdale got to the final. And it was an October day, and through Pierce Stadium it was like a bog. And they won the bikes, and I remember them cycling off, and I looking at him, and a big pompous head in him. And Noel Earls was cycling, but the wheel was going down through the ground. He was a big guy, Noel, And one of our lads ran over, and he made bits of the mud guard.
Muller wouldn't do that.
So that was the first time I met him. But there's a great story about when he played first time for Clymerdale, senior. He went into the dressing room and he'd be only 16 or 17. And Michael Earls, who played with Galway and is part of our team in 87, 88, Michael was like a werewolf when he tugged out. There was hair everywhere on his back and his arms, his everywhere. So the next thing...
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike. You're not supposed to say that.
Well, the next thing, one of the guys said, young Keady, when you have hair on your chest like ours, he says, that's when you'll be able to play senior hurler. Keady thought for a second. He says, no matter how long you wait, no matter what you do, you will not put hair on steel.